Hi, my name is Veronique, and today we are going to read a book called The Name Jar. I'm guessing it's about people with different names, which I have one, so I'm really excited to dig into it. Okay. The Name Jar by Yangsook Choi. See, she has a jar full of paper scraps, probably have lots of names on them. There's a little bag and a stamp. For Unhi, my mother, and thanks to Tracy and Michelle. Through the school bus window, Unhi looked out at the strange buildings and houses on the way to her new school. It was her first day, and she was both nervous and excited. I like her purple hair tag too. This looks like she's at an airport with family. You can see a plane in the background. Looks like maybe she's getting a gift there. Looks like mom and dad, little brother, maybe a grandmother. She fingered the little block of wood in her pocket and remembered leaving her grandmother at the airport in Korea. Her grandmother had wiped away Unhi's tears and handed her an ink pad and a small red satin pouch. "Your name is inside," she had said. My name? Unhi had wondered. Again, she took out the red pouch to look at the wooden block with her name carved in it. As she ran her fingers along the grooves and ridges of the Korean characters, she pictured her grandmother's smile. So we were right, that was her grandmother. "Is that thing for show and tell?" a boy asked Unhi, surprising her. Unhi looked up as more kids leaned over. "No, it's mine," Unhi answered, quickly putting the pouch back in her pocket. "Are you new here? What's your name?" a girl asked. "Unhi," said Unhi. "Une?" the girl asked, scrunching up her face. "Ooh, Uni?" some kids chanted. No, Unhi corrected. It's spelled U-N-H-E-I. It's pronounced Unhi. "Oh, it's Yoonhae," the boy said, "like you-hey. What about hey you?" Just then, the bus pulled up to the school and the doors opened. Unhi hurried to get off. "You-hey, bye-bye," the kids yelled as she left. Unhi felt herself blush. It's rough when people don't know how to say your name. I know Veronique is a hard one too, so I have that problem sometimes. And as she is sitting in the bus, you can see all of the kids leaning over to see the gift she had in her pocket from her grandmother. Some of them don't look too happy. Unhi stood in the doorway of her new and noisy classroom. She was relieved that the kids on the bus had gone to other rooms, but her face still felt red. "Are you going in?" asked a curly-haired boy with lots of dots on his face. "You are the new girl, right?" he asked cheerfully. Unhi nodded, and before she could walk away, the boy took her hand and pulled her through the door. "Here's the new girl," he announced so loudly that the teacher, Mr. Kokatos, almost dropped his glasses. Mr. Kokatos thanked him and greeted Unhi. "Please welcome our newest student," he said to the class. She and her family just arrived from Korea last week. Unhi smiled broadly and tried not to show her nervousness. "What's your name?" shouted someone. Unhi pictured the kids on the bus. I haven't picked one yet," she told the class, "but I'll let you know by next week." As Mr. Cockatoo showed her to her desk, she felt many round, curious eyes on her. "Why doesn't she have a name?" she heard someone whisper. "Maybe she robbed a bank in Korea and needs a new identity," a boy replied. Excuse me. On the bus home, nobody teased her, but Unhi kept thinking about her name. "How was school, Unhi?" her mother asked when she walked in. "Did you understand the teacher?" Unhi simply nodded. She unpacked her school bag and set the red pouch by a photograph of her grandma. I'm glad you are learning English well, her mother said. You must study hard, behave nicely, and get good grades to show that you are a good Korean. I will, replied Unhi, but I think I would like my own American name, she said quickly. Her mother looked at her with surprise. Why? Unhai's beautiful name. Your grandma and I went to a name master for it. But it's so hard to pronounce, Unhi complained. I don't want to be different from all the American kids. You are different, Unhi, her mother said. That's a good thing. Unhi just wrinkled her nose. When I was little in kindergarten, I decided my name was going to be Nikki because it was easier to say. So I understand what Unhi is going through, trying to pick a name that's easier to pronounce so the kids on the bus don't make fun of her. There they are at the kitchen table. Oh, it looks like they're making dumplings for a snack. And maybe there's a bowl of flowers or some sort of red fruit on the counter. And a nice plant on the table. I like that. Later that day, Unhi and her mother went grocery shopping in their new neighborhood. They passed Fadil's Falafel, Tony's Pizza, and Dot's Deli. A big graffiti-painted garbage truck roared like a lion as it took off down the street. Nothing sounded or looked familiar until they got to Kim's Market. The sign was both in English and Korean. So we can see Tony's Pizza and a bit of Dot's Deli in the picture. You can see a little dog by the tree, probably waiting for their owner to come back out with pizza or a sandwich. There's Kim's Market. Her mother picked up cabbage to make kimchi, Korean-style spicy pickled cabbage, and other vegetables and meat. She also found some seaweed, Unhai's favorite, for soup. It made Unhai smile. Just because we've moved to America, her mother said, doesn't mean we stop eating Korean food. I think all of that sounds really yummy. At the checkout counter, a friendly man smiled at Unhai. Helping your mother with the shopping, he asked. Unhai nodded. I'm Mr. Kim, he said, and what is your name? Unhai, she answered. Ah, what a beautiful name, he said. Doesn't it mean grace? Unhai nodded again. My mother and grandmother went to a name master for it, she told him. A graceful name for a graceful girl, Mr. Kim said as he put their groceries into bags. Welcome to the neighborhood, Unhai. It's always nice when someone takes the time to learn your name and say something nice about it. That evening, Unhai stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Hi, my name is Amanda, she said cheerfully, and then she wrinkled her nose. Hi, my name is Laura. Maybe not. Her smile turned down. Nothing sounded right. Nothing felt right. I don't think American kids will like me, she worried as she began to brush her teeth. Hi, my name is Juji, she said to the mirror with her mouth full of toothpaste. I think she meant to say, hi, my name is Susie, but you can imagine with a toothbrush and toothpaste in your mouth, it sounds funny. Do you talk when you brush your teeth? It probably sounds funny. You should try tonight. The next morning, when Unhai arrived at school, she found a glass jar on her desk with some pieces of paper in it. Unhai took out one and read it aloud. Daisy. That's my baby sister's nickname, but she said you can use it if you want, said Cindy, who sat next to her. Unhai took out the rest of the paper. Tamila, she read. I got it from a storybook, said Nate. She was smart and brave. Unhai nodded and unfolded another piece. Wednesday? Yeah. You came here on a Wednesday, said Ralph. Thank you for your help. A smile spread over Unhai's face. Ralph quickly said, We'll put more names in. You can pick whatever you like or pick them all. You'll have the longest name in history. I bet she felt really good after that. Her friends are really trying to help her pick a name that makes her feel comfortable and happy. This is my name stamp, she said. My grandma gave it to me. In Korea, I can use it as a signature when I open a bank account or write a letter. And whenever I miss my grandma, I use it to fill a piece of paper. Want to try it? She offered the stamp to Joey, and he carefully inked the stamp and pressed it hard on the paper. The red characters gleamed against the whiteness. Whoa, that's beautiful, Joey said. Can I keep the paper? Sure, Unhi said. And then the two of them shared her umbrella as they walked to the school bus. That is so cool. I wonder what my name would look like on a stamp. What would your name look like on a stamp? Every day, the jar got fuller with more names, and Unhi read them all. She found a few names she liked. Miranda, Stella, Avery. They sounded interesting. I hope you choose the name I put in, Marco told her at snack time. I've put in 3 more, said Ralph. Madison, Park, and Lex. They're my favorite street names. Maybe you should close your eyes and draw a name, Rosie suggested. Ralph frowned. That's silly. What if she doesn't like the name she draws? Well, we didn't get to choose our names when we were born, did we? Rosie argued. Everyone thought about this. I didn't choose my name. I wonder what I would choose if I had to pick. What would you choose if you were to have a different name? Oh, you can see them at lunch. They're all talking about that jar full of names and how Unhi should pick her new name. Oh, and here's a friend. What do you think he has in his hand? Is that the letter he stamped with her name? Or is this something new? You can see the artwork hanging on the wall there. I think those are all different Korean characters. Oh, that was at her house. When Unhi got home from school that day, her little brother ran to give her a letter. It was from her grandma. She opened it quickly. It said, "To my Unhi, I hope you are enjoying your new school and new friends. Be sure to help your mother and your little brother. Here, the moon is up, but there, the sun is up. No matter how far apart we are, and no matter how different America is from Korea, you'll always be my Unhi, your grandmother, forever." Unhi took out her wooden stamp and filled the paper with it. She thought for a long time in front of the bathroom mirror. So the letter from her grandmother was talking about how far away Korea is from America. And when it's nighttime there, it's daytime here. And when it's nighttime here, it's daytime in Korea. Looks like she has a little bag with her. Maybe she's going into a store. I wonder if that's Mr. Kim's. We'll find out. It is. On Saturday, Unhi walked to Mr. Kim's store. Mr. Kim was helping a customer, but he looked up and greeted her. "Hi, Unhi." "Hello, Mr. Kim," Unhi replied. She felt as if she were back in her old neighborhood in Korea. "Hey," said the customer, turning around. "It was Joey. Your name is Unhi?" he asked her with his eyes open wide. Unhi looked quickly at Mr. Kim, then turned to Joey. She nodded slowly. "Yes, it's pronounced Unhi, and it means grace," Mr. Kim added. "Unhi," Joey said slowly, and this time perfectly. It made Unhi smile. "I'll have it ready for you tomorrow," said Mr. Kim to Joey. "Thank you, Mr. Kim. See you Monday, Unhi," Joey said to her. He left before she could ask him why he was at the store. I think that was really great of Joey to make sure he was pronouncing her name right. What do you think he was doing at the store? On Monday, Unhi came to class early to look at the names one last time, but the jar wasn't on her desk. Instead, there was just a single piece of paper with a name on it. Unhi slipped it into her pocket. "Where's your name jar?" Ralph asked as soon as he saw it was gone. "I don't know," Unhi said. "It wasn't on Mr. Cockato's desk or on any other desk, and it wasn't on the counters or any of the shelves." You can see, I think everyone in class is looking for it. There looks like there's a girl going through the bookshelf. Maybe she thinks the jar is hiding behind books. And there are kids looking under their desk and in bags. They're all looking for her name jar. As other kids arrived, they helped look. Soon Mr. Cockatoos came in and Ralph shouted at him, "The name jar is gone, the jar with all the names in it." "Gone?" Mr. Cockatoos replied. With a look of concern, he asked Unhi, "Did you get a chance to read all the names?" Unhi nodded. She took a breath. "I'm ready to introduce myself," she said. Unhi wrote her name in both English and Korean on the chalkboard. "I liked the beautiful names and the funny names you thought of for me," she told the class, "but I realized that I liked my name." So you can see she has Unhi, and then under that, her name in the Korean characters. I think both are beautiful. Unhi, come downstairs," Mother called up to Unhi. "Your friend is here." Unhi rushed down to see who she meant. There stood Joey, and in his arms was the name jar. "Where did you find it?" asked Unhi breathlessly. Joey looked embarrassed. Well, I took it, but only because I wanted you to keep your own name, and you did." He reached in and pulled out the names. "Do you want to keep them?" "Thank you. I'll keep them as a souvenir," Unhi said happily. Then she pulled out the piece of paper from her pocket. "Do you want this back?" Joey grinned. "You can keep it. I'll return the name jar to the class. Maybe you could put some Korean nicknames in it for us, names with good meanings." "I could do that," agreed Unhi. "I've already got a Korean nickname," Joey said. "Mr. Kim helped me choose it." What do you think Joey's nickname is? Let's find out. You can see the stamp here. Mr. Kim must have helped him with the stamp. Carefully, he pulled a small silver felt pouch from his pocket. Then he took out a dark wooden stamp with beautiful Korean characters carved sharply into it. He pressed it on the ink pad and then onto the piece of paper next to her name. "Chinku," read Unhi. "That means friend." And Chinku smiled back. That's a great name. Oh, and that's the end. And here's the back of the book. Well, that was a really great book and something to keep in mind when you meet a new person with a name you've never heard before, or it may be hard for you to pronounce, that maybe it would be nice to take a moment and make sure you're saying their name right, because that will make them feel really good. I hope you enjoyed that story. Thank you.